Hello everyone, my name is Roger and I would like to welcome you to another video. In this video, we are going to be introduced to the Python module NumPy. The best way to really summarize this module is to look at its name. Its name has two components, num and py, right? So num stands for number, py stands for Python. So whenever you have to do anything with numbers, which we all do, a lot of times when we do data analytics, most of the things that we work with is numbers. We look at how we can do that using NumPy module. So let's sort of like look at a few things about this very useful module to understand what it is really, what it actually is, and talk about its advantages a little bit. So it's just an introduction. All right, so let's start with how you would use it. If you are using Anaconda like I'm doing right now, Jupyter Notebook in Anaconda, you don't need to do anything really but import NumPy, right? So once you import NumPy, you're ready to start using this module. And most of the time when you import NumPy, the best way is to import it as an alias, right? Give it a name, right? And most people, almost everyone gives the name of NP. It doesn't have to be NP, it can be whatever you want, right? But let's just keep it as everyone else is doing it, so it's much better because if you want to use other people's code, they're going to look the same. Or if you want to send your code for them to look at it, they're going to understand whenever they see NP what it is referring to. So that's all there is to it. So once you say NP, import NumPy as NP, you've imported NumPy. So let's go ahead and check the type of NP, see what it is. And it says it's a module, right? I introduced NumPy as a module, but what is a module? A module is a collection of programming objects such as functions, properties, and things like that someone has already created, and all you need to do to start using them is to have access to them. And NumPy is an open source module, right? And all these classes, programming objects, functions, properties, you can use them just by typing this, like import NumPy as NP. So that's all there is to it. So let's look at this sort of like NumPy.org. So this is basically the how NumPy or community, the creator, defines it. It's a library for the Python programming language, adding support for large multi-dimensional arrays and matrices, along with the large collections of high-level mathematical functions to operate these arrays, right? So if you look at their website, very similar again, you've got basically every time you want to work with numbers, you know where to come. NumPy is your go-to. And if you are interested to also look at the codes, you can check the GitHub NumPy repository, which is basically the most updated codes and all of the commits and everything is here. You can take a look at them. So whenever you do something like this, right, you are automatically importing all of these codes, so they're in the background ready for you to use, right? So it's just a whole world on itself, NumPy, right? For us to check that, for instance, we can use the function dir, right, np, and it just tells you all of the properties, functions, and objects and classes that comes with this np, right? For instance, one of them is np array. Let's find that. Yeah, this one. This is the most famous one, which is basically we're going to use just a second. And there are like lots of these, right? So let's use the len, which is the length of this list. There are 620 of these different things. So let's go ahead and say np.array, which is basically creating an array. So I can have an array of 1 2 3 4, right? And I can give this a name, right? So once I do this, now if I check the type of my array, it's NumPy array. So this is the programming object and probably a class that it's created here. And this class itself, right, it has also other programming properties, functions, etc. About it, right? So you can see all these different functions. I mean, a few of these are familiar. This is variance, this is size, this is sorting, this is standard deviation, minimum, maximum, right? So some of these are already known to us. For instance, my array.mean, it calculates the mean of these numbers, right? So calculate the mean of these numbers. So all of the, some of these are very simple and known to us, some of them are not. So the point I'm trying to get across here is that there are a lot of tools that have been developed in NumPy, and it's free for us to use. All we need to know to get access to them is like what these are and being able to do some Python program, which I've already learned. So what's the best way to start learning NumPy? I wouldn't suggest for you to go and check each of these functions and objects here, data programming objects here. I would actually suggest for you to start using it whenever you have some numerical operations that you want to do, and you want to do using programming. Check NumPy if NumPy has it or not. So that's one good strategy. And of course, continue watching my videos because in the next video I'm going to talk about the differences between a list and a NumPy array. That's going to create a good foundation for you to be able to use NumPy arrays in a much more effective way, and you are going to understand the differences between the list, just a Python list, an array, and that's just going to make the whole NumPy advantages, bring it to home in a much better way. So I'm going to see you in the next video.